Hey, good morning on the Alan Osborne Show. It's April 6th. Hey, I put on my YouTube channel. Some people asked me to upload a Dropbox file into the middle of my show, and I'd never done it, so I deleted my own audio. So I went ahead and posted it because it was so painful to convert to YouTube. But now there's a permanent record of the Defuniak Springs City Council debate. And I want to cover a few things that came out in that council debate last night. And really, we're talking about this guy right here, Matt Carpenter. Old Carpenter, he uh he uh he showed his colors last night, and he exposed a lot of stuff. You know, we hear all this debate. We talked about how stupid the airport was for Defuniak Springs, and our BCC backed it. And don't forget, I mean, you just cannot ignore the fact that Barker was involved in it. Mike Barker has been also pushing this airport, old Beanpole himself. And that's now the city of Defuniak's interim manager, old Beanpole. So he's the temporary manager. Things Max said last night is the city desperately needed a manager, administrator, whatever they're going to call this dude. They desperately need one who would stay with them because they've been in an interim status for 10 years. Do you notice a pattern of what's going on with the county? We've been in an interim status for a couple of years with the county attorney, an interim status with the administrator. We got old Tony Cornball up there who's not going to enforce anything and doesn't know how to. And in fact, he'd have to enforce on the code department that he was running, that he was breaking the rules. So that's who's running to the city of Defuniak. But here's some of Mac's epiphanies. If you'll go watch that debate and just ignore the blank parts of me talking, uh, Mac says that recently he admits that the biggest crisis they have, other than Defuniak doesn't know how much money it has because it doesn't really, it's $1 million off here and there. And a grand jury found that their finances were in shambles, a grand jury. But Max says that one of the biggest problems is the sewer system that he's on. He openly admits he lives around the lake system is failing EPA standards from the, and it was put in the 50s, and it's oversaturated, overloaded, and in desperate need of fixing, that it's polluting the Round Lake. Is that where y'all have your triathlons? Y'all let people swim in that? And that's the center of Defuniak Springs, but somehow executive jet expansion for infrastructure has overrode the need to not have shit in the water. I mean, it's really that plain. And then Mac further has an epiphany that said recently the county made some developments outside Defuniak Springs hook on to Defuniak Springs system because that would help Defuniak Springs. Who's the county? He's the county. So this is what I mean on a conflict of interest. Mac openly claims that he made these developments because he's the planning director and the BCC is supposedly not involved in daily business. So Mac made these developments hook on to Defuniak Springs. Why? Because he wants them to pay to fix it. It would have been smarter for the county to make these developers put in new systems where they were at, but Mac wanted them to hook on to Defuniak to fix their broke ass system so they can spend all their money with county support on fixing the airport for executive jets. This is criminal. People of Defuniak, I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening to this idiot because that's what you got. Mr. Burns. It's all about him, Matt, the socialist. He'll tell you his background was putting affordable housing everywhere. That's what he did his whole life. And he didn't even live here, come back here till 2006 and claims that he needs to fix Defuniak. And listen to him talk about other people's money. Everybody's, but his, because he says doing this will lower everybody in Defuniak's costs. So him making the county do things will help lower his costs. This is why this is a conflict. Even the school board has a policy where old Hughes says if you run for office, you got to tell him because they've got to evaluate whether that's going to be a conflict in your job. This definitely is. And the fact that this ship of fools that include Barker and Glidewell and Boots, they all supported that damn airport. Stupid. Stupid. And Danny lives up in that area too. I mean, look at Barker. And, you know, Max says, oh, they got to have all this. They got to have some stability in Defuniak Springs. So they hired Barker. Go listen to his job interviews. He doesn't have an education. They're paying a man with no degree who only had a part-time job before he was elected and quit. And that's the guy that's going to lead them to posterity? No. No, he ain't leading y'all anywhere but to line in his own pockets. And Mac knows that, and he's part of it. If the people of Defuniak elect this fool, you know, they deserve what they get. Amy Hedlund's up there. She's a fraud specialist running against Mac, and she's a CPA. And she brings, and they don't want to give her the public records, just like the county and the state attorney's office aren't giving me the ones. I've had one out for the county that's got some interesting stuff, and they won't fill it. Why? Because the administrator's not making anybody. And this is the guy right here, and we all know it, who's actually running the county. Mr. Potato Chip Bowl on his head himself. This guy right here, who's the attorney for everything, including Defuniak Springs, he is running everything. And it's sickening. It really is sickening that this guy has this much control over our county. Mr. Potato Chip Bowl, the attorney man, he needs to go. And the reason he's not going is old fat ass Graham and yeah, you Graham, sandwich eating. This corrupt bastard who worked for him and the sheriff, they're all tied into this shit. Every damn one of them. They don't want to prosecute these people, but you see what's going on. Millions of dollars. An interim attorney for 2 years. A no county attorney. We're being sued for sexual harassment and the airport expansion for private jets and some kind of crappy thing about training that they ain't got no data on. They have no real experts. Have some dude who sold gas at Florala in charge of it. I'll be happy to sit down and debate that bastard. But this is a ripoff to you, the people of Defuniak. And this guy was in on it. And if y'all elect him, you deserve what you get. You go down to the lake and swim in shit while y'all get an airport. And if you appoint Mike Barker, if you think this guy's going to be your long-term administrator, you don't believe in history repeating itself. Go look how many times it's repeated itself. When's the last time a commissioner quit to chase the money? Mid-election, I took an oath to the Constitution. I'm going to serve this for the people. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And he quit. And that's who Defuniak. This is the recycled trash program. This is what got Dan Curry fired as a coach, because he said we have a county recycling program of recycling trashy leadership, just like Trey Nix planning to run again. You can't make this shit up, but you can unelect it. Elect Amy Hedlund and listen to what Max says and ask yourself, if you were in charge, would dealing with people's sewage be more important to their daily lives than to having a bigger airport for visitors and executives to land at? This is shit you can't make up on the Alan Osborne show, but you can unelect it. And right now, this is a big problem with it. He's in the middle of this crap, and he's doing the wrong thing left and right. Watch him closely and call Ginger Madden's office and ask the state attorney, what's going on? They can see this from the universe out there, and so can I on the Alan Osborne show. Y'all keep them straight out there. They can't keep themselves straight. We can see it every day.